So, if you're running a retail business, say somewhere in that $1 to $20 million range, you already know this. Growth brings a whole new set of headaches. In this explainer, we're going to break down a totally different way to think about solving them. Let's get right into it. First up, we'll talk about something called the growth ceiling. Then we'll dig into what's really causing the problem, and it's probably not what you think. After that, we'll introduce this idea of a governed operating system, show you what it looks like when it's running, and finally, we'll walk through a really straightforward, low-risk way to get started. All right, so let's just start with the operational reality of things. What it's really like to run a retail business that's doing well. We're talking about that tricky spot where your own success starts to create some very specific and very frustrating problems. As I go through these next few points, I just want you to ask yourself one question. Does any of this sound familiar? Because these aren't just theories, right? This is the day-to-day grind that business owners just like you are dealing with all the time. Okay, think about your inventory. Are your buying decisions based on hard data, or is it more, gut feeling? Because that instinct often leads to having way too much of what isn't selling, and you're constantly sold out of your best stuff. And what about your customers? How many have just sort of faded away? They bought once, and you never saw them again, probably because nobody had a spare second to follow up. And marketing? Oh boy, when the store gets slammed, marketing is the first thing to just stop, right? The end result of all of this is that leadership's time gets eaten up just trying to manually glue together a dozen different tools that don't even talk to each other.
So, why? Why do these problems stick around? Even when you're working harder than ever, even when you hire more people? Let's get to the real root of it, because it's not what you might expect.
And here's the crucial thing to understand. The problem isn't your effort. It's not about your intentions or how talented your team is. The real issue is structural. It's the simple absence of a governed infrastructure that's actually built to handle the complexity that comes with getting bigger. This slide really lays it out perfectly. On the left, you've got all the symptoms. The massive different tools, the constant manual coordination, the fact that you have no single place to see what's going on. But those are just that, symptoms. The actual disease, the real root cause over on the right, is an ungoverned infrastructure. Without a system holding it all together, every bit of growth just piles on more and more complexity. And this is exactly where the solution comes into play. It requires a completely different way of thinking about the foundation of your business. We're talking about a governed operating system, and it's called Quanton OS.
So, what is Quanton OS, really? Well, in simple terms, it's a deployable AI operating system. It's made up of 8 AI agents that work together, running on private servers, and it plugs directly into the business tools you're already using.
And this is a really, really important distinction. This is not another piece of software that you have to buy, install, and then figure out how to manage. Think of it more like a complete operational layer for your business, an entire operating system that gets deployed and is operated for you. At its core, the system is built on these 8 coordinated AI agents. And as you can see here, they cover pretty much every part of your business, from growth areas like marketing and sales, all the way to core operations like inventory and finance. And every single one is deployed in every engagement. But here's the real magic, the most important part. See that 8th agent, the governing agent? That's the piece that turns this from a collection of cool automations into a true operating system. Without it, you just have 7 separate functions. The governing agent is the conductor of the orchestra. It coordinates all the others, makes sure they work in harmony, and gives you a single source of truth for your entire business. It's the intelligence layer that your current setup is missing. So how does this actually plug into your business? It's pretty straightforward. It connects directly to the platforms you already know and use, your point of sale, your e-commerce site, your accounting software. The agents use secure API connections to read and write data. And this brings us to what might be the most critical point for any busy owner. No migration is required. None. Your systems, your workflows, they all stay right where they are. So, what has this actually changed for you day to day? Let's talk about the real-world impact you'd actually see and feel once this is up and running. We're going to focus on 3 of the 8 agents that tend to have the biggest, most immediate impact for a retail business. And we'll start with what's often the biggest headache of all: inventory. Okay, so the inventory and supply chain agent gives you real-time visibility. It is constantly monitoring your stock levels everywhere, online, in your stores. It can automatically trigger reorders based on rules you set, so you stop running out of your bestsellers. It also keeps an eye on your supplier shipments and flags any delays, and it even points out the slow-moving items that you might want to mark down. Basically, it replaces all that guesswork with governed, data-driven decision-making.
All right, next up is the customer experience agent. This is the agent that solves that whole problem of good customers falling through the cracks.
What this agent does is it automates all that critical communication that is so important but so often gets missed. It runs post-purchase follow-ups to build loyalty, it handles abandoned cart campaigns to get those lost sales back, and maybe most importantly, it systematically deploys re-engagement campaigns to win back those customers who haven't bought from you in a while. It just ensures that you're consistently communicating even when you're swamped.
And finally, let's talk about the agent that makes sure your marketing never goes dark again.
So the marketing and content agent manages your entire editorial calendar. It schedules your content across all your channels, but what makes it so incredibly powerful is how it connects to the other agents. It coordinates your promotions with the live inventory data from the inventory agent. Now, what does that actually mean? It means your marketing will never, ever again promote a product that just sold out. It makes your marketing not just consistent, but smart. So that brings us to the big question. How do you even start? Well, the whole process is designed to be a very low-risk path that gives you immediate clarity on your operations. The first step isn't a sales call. It's a professional diagnostic. It's a 2 to 3 week engagement where we work with you to audit your workflows, map out your current systems, and figure out exactly where these AI agents could have the biggest impact for you. And what you get at the end of this phase is a full-on diagnostic report. This document will show you exactly where the operational gaps are in your business. And more than that, it actually puts a number on how much value is leaking out because of those gaps. It also gives you a clear, prioritized roadmap for implementation. And here's the key part. That report is yours. You own it on delivery, whether you decide to move forward or not. It's a valuable strategic asset all on its own, giving you a completely objective view of your business's health. It really just leaves you with one final thought, doesn't it? It's not just about what's possible, but what's the real cost of staying exactly the same.